This is my exact process for creating character voices. If you're going to try this, please don't follow it rigidly because it rarely happens in a straight line. It's kind of like cooking where if it doesn't taste good, you add a pinch of salt and maybe a splash of pepper.
Splash of pepper.
Yeah, don't take cooking advice from me. If you're interested in knowing the behind the scenes mental work that is involved in creating original character voices, then keep watching. But if you're just here for the part where we actually change our voice, then you can go ahead and skip to that section. And on to my personal process. If you're creating the voice for a specific project, then you have to 1. Research the project, and 2. Study your character or role. You also get overachiever bonus points if you decide to study the other character bios so you know their relationship to your character and thereby change how your character interacts with the other characters. Once you've done steps 1 and 2, then you'll have the ingredients for your meal, so it's time to cook. Or step 3, assemble your voice. I should really stop using cooking analogies. Step 1, research the project. As an example, we'll be using a passion project that I was working on in 2015 because I am a frustrated novelist. Let's read the synopsis. Audiophile is a slice-of-life coming-of-age visual novel set in the Philippines about a group of high school friends embarking on a journey to become world-renowned voice actors and to discover their best selves. So that's the plot, and the medium is a visual novel, which is very anime-esque, which means my acting would be a bit more exaggerated. But I wouldn't stop with just reading the synopsis. The next thing I do is read a couple of the scripts and compare them just to get a general vibe for the project. If the project already has some kind of demo, then watch that. The vibe or mood is kind of like how a DC movie feels very different from a Marvel movie. DC movies tend to be darker and grittier, and Marvel movies tend to be more colorful and epic. Based on the synopsis of the project, what kind of mood can you expect from it so far? Step 2, study your character or role. This guy's name is Rico Ayers. When creating character voices, you don't just come up with character voices out of thin air. You need to consider your character's physiological, psychological, social, and historical traits, among other things. Any extra information you can get about your character will help. Okay, let's read his bio. Okay, Rico Ayers, physiological. Rico's 15 years old, has a baby face, and is 5'2", but his power stance makes him look 5'3", so let's keep that power stance. Psychological, he's very optimistic about life, so he must smile a lot, loves closing deals, and he's got a bit of a hero complex. Also, he's very insecure about his scrawny voice, and I totally wasn't projecting when I wrote this. Definitely not. Social, his best friend is Aqua, the protagonist. He's an encourager and the life of the party, but is happy to take the back seat so his friends can take the spotlight. Historical, his favorite memory was when he convinced Aqua to become his best friend when they were 4 years old. This was his first successful business negotiation. Now that we know more about the project and the character, the part you've all been waiting for. The voice. Since I've already created this voice in the past, this is kind of like a replay. It's time to get in character. I tried to imagine my energy levels from 10 years ago. The kind of zeal that a child has when they've got their whole life ahead of them. Again, the bio mentions a power stance, so I'll do that by default. And by looking at Rico's frame and baby face, I figured that his voice would also be high-pitched, so now this is high-pitched and energetic. But there was still something missing, so I decided to add a bit of texture, so he got this raspy quality to his voice now. I am now a teenager going through puberty. And from there, I just dialed his energy back a little bit so that it would just be slightly more than my own average energy. Doing that gives me a bit of dynamic range to go higher when the character is more excited, or lower when the character's sad or upset. But when you start way up here, it's like a caricature, and that doesn't work in the slice of life genre. Also, when the character's base excitement is too high, the audience isn't gonna sense it when the character actually becomes excited. That's like going from 90% to 100%, but it's so much more interesting to start at 50% and then from there work your way up to 100%. Now this is where it gets interesting. Remember how the bio says that Rico is insecure about his scrawny voice? Then you could imagine that in certain scenes, he would make his voice deeper. And you wouldn't want to just suddenly do this voice. This would be a deep voice for me as Dave Soltura. You would want to go deep with Rico's voice as the frame of reference. You want deep? This is deep. I don't have a scrawny voice. I have a a deep trailer voice. In the city, you must fight to survive. He sold tortillas in the corner, but the mob wanted in. Notice also how I'm not just going down in pitch, but I'm also exaggerating the way I speak, because in Rico's mind, this is the way tough people with big biceps sound like. Yeah, I don't have a small voice. I have a deep trailer voice. And I'm also simulating the struggle because Rico wouldn't be able to do this voice very long. And it's that simple. It's really just a matter of mixing and matching various vocal attributes and making sure they match the project and the character. But I just want to encourage you. A lot of people are intimidated by terms like character analysis. If you're a creative individual who's watched some movies and maybe played some video games, and you have an inner child who turns performance into play, then this is just going to come naturally to you. If it doesn't, don't be discouraged. My number one suggestion is to keep immersing yourself in the types of projects that you want to be a part of and to really pay attention to the nuances of the voice. If you like voice acting tips, then hit that subscribe button. Curious about how to get into voice acting? Then check out this video I've made on that topic.